What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel once again. I wanted to follow up the last video with another quick video to show you guys where we're at. We are at Bulletproof Diesel. And if you guys know anything about Bulletproof Diesel, you'll know why I'm here. So we're going to show you the new 6.7 that we picked up from a really good friend of mine. I can't thank Dave enough for letting me borrow the truck when mine was stolen, and then giving me the opportunity to purchase that truck from him. It was over here at Bulletproof Diesel getting a few things tidied up on it because they had just installed a new motor because of some issues that we'll get into later, but they're about to pull the truck around, so we're going to show it to you in a minute. All right, guys, so we just left Bulletproof Diesel. We're back at the house, and I'm going to show you the new edition. Here's my new, to me, 2016 Ford F-350 Super Duty. 6.7 liter diesel, used truck. Got it from my buddy Dave, but definitely it was time for a change for me. It is a short bed, so I'm not quite used to that, but that's okay. We'll adapt. And yeah, guys, new tow rig is here.
Okay, guys, I'm here to pick up Harvey's head over at S&S in Mesa, and this is what it looks like now.
All nice and smooth. All right.
All ready for the car.
And Tesla's backing in. Looks like we're getting a special delivery and a burnout in my dirt. Good. That trunk open. Hey, let's go. Nothing like a new on the cylinder head, boys. Nice and clean, fresh. Why was there a baggie on it? Oh, there was a bolt. So we're gonna get this thing out of the car. Special delivery thanks to Sherry. And yeah, guys, we're gonna be ready to go. Sweet. Okay, guys, so we're back out in my shop again today, working on Chabelas, getting her ready for PFI Speedfest 2 on the 7th in Kearney, Nebraska. I've got everything kind of dialed in. I got the head back. I went ahead and switched to studs. Brent, Jamie, you guys will be a lot happier with me now that I don't have Allen bolts in there. Studs on the intake and exhaust. I went ahead and got my rockers put back in. Head's ready to go. I was waiting on this. I didn't have one of these. I probably could have borrowed the one from PFI, but they use them so much there. I will never use a conventional ring compressor again after using one of these. Dude, there's just no way I would ever use a regular one. These things you just sit them up there and whoop, they just slip right together. So no more hanging up on the rings or anything. Now that I got the ring compressor, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the pan. We're gonna start dropping these rods out and switching back to our Eagles. The bearings came in, they're right there. I got the rods. So yeah, guys, we're ready to put this thing back together and get it ready for PFI Speedfest. I also ran that 990 pass with all these problems, and this transmission's also a peg leg, boys. It doesn't even have an LSD in it. So Goofy switched to Pro Level, so I picked up his Gear X LSD out of his transmission. This thing's been 8s before, so whatever I throw at it shouldn't be an issue. So after I get the motor put back together, we're gonna go ahead and throw that LSD in the transmission. So I gotta put the motor together, then drop the transmission out, put the LSD in it, put it back in, and then we should be good. We got the first rod and piston out, boys. So far, let me let the camera focus. So far, so good. No issues. I was expecting to see the sides all hammered, but they look pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and pop them back in after we swap rods. Then I'll show you guys the length difference once I get this rod taken off of here. So I'm already down to the last one. Those are all my Manly rods I took out. The Eagles are here. So I don't know if on camera if you guys are going to be able to tell a difference. Let me line up the The bearing slots. Oh yeah, you can tell. You can see that the manley's a little bit longer. So that was the problem. Also, if you take a look at the bearings, let me pull this bearing out of here. This is an LS bearing. This is a GSR bearing. See how much wider an LS bearing is? So literally what was happening is the rod was able to walk back and forth on the crank, back and forth, back and forth. I got lucky that these wrist pins are a bit of a snug fit, so they didn't move. They didn't gash up the crank or anything. I got so lucky. I don't know how many more lives I have, guys, with luck with this motor, because everything that's happened to it, theoretically, this thing should be destroyed, and it's not. Maybe that's a testament to the builder, but anyhow, I've got 3 of the Eagles back in the motor. I'm working on the 4th now. Just about ready to get this thing, the bottom end finished up. I can put the oil pan and stuff back on, and then I am going to put the head back on. The head gasket's still not here yet. It's supposed to be here sometime today, and then we should be all safe and good to go. We're going to leave 1 day early for the event, stop in at PFI, because we've got to stick this thing back on the rollers and turn things down and up and what have you. Remember, from the dyno, we had to pull a ton of fuel out of this. Hopefully we can put all that fuel back in. It's going to need it. So that's where we're at, guys. Got the motor almost put back together, and Chabelas will be on the mission September 7th, PFI Speedfest 2. So guys, I want to show you how great these things are. So the other 3 are already in. Just going to sit that right up there just so it's kind of in the general vicinity. I've already got the rings clocked the way they're supposed to go. Serial numbers need to go towards the outside. So watch, I can just sit that in there like that. Just drop it in. Turn it to where I want it. Just tap down a little bit. The skirt dropped in. Look at that. Just like that, guys. Pops right in, no issues. Love those ring compressors. Way better than them socket ones that you've got to turn the socket along the side of it, and it's always just a pain in the ass. Those things just drop right in. Okay, guys, so that's a little bit more like it. So pistons don't really rock. I mean, they rock a little bit, but now we're below the deck. So this thing will be back to the way it was. Should rip. I inspected all the rings. Sorry about that. Everything looked good, like I showed you. Pistons are below the deck. So yeah, now we got to stone the deck, clean it up, and put the head back on. We're waiting for the gasket to show up. It should be here sometime today. And then we move on to pulling the transmission out. Whew, what a mess. Okay, so I was a little bit panicked that my Pro Seal head gasket was not going to come in. So Sherry and I jammed out to the Honda dealer in Peoria. It's like an hour away. They had one in stock. I called JE Pistons, and they said they had no record of me ever ordering anything in their system. So that prompted me to run out there. I actually called them for a tracking number. So I ran out to Peoria, grabbed the OEM one, and then when I got home, and here it is, guys. Straight from JE Pistons. Friggin' guys. So anyhow, we're going to go with the OEM. We'll just keep the JE as a backup. All right, we're back out in the shop. Got my OEM real P30 gasket, not the fake PR3 one I had before. Laid on the motor. We're going to go ahead and get the cylinder head picked up, drop down onto the motor. We'll go ahead and drop the studs in afterwards. I find it easier just to drop the head on the dowel pins and then stick the studs through the head rather than fighting it all the way down. So sometimes the studs are a little bit tight. So we're going to go ahead and get the head dropped on now, start getting this thing put back together. Got a lot of work to do tonight, guys. So we're going to get to it. I got them torqued down with the to 90 foot-pounds with the old Craftsman. And now I'm going to go back over it with the 1/2 inch drive snap-on tech wrench. Set the digital to 90. We're going to make sure they're at 90. And then we can move on. All right, guys, that's it. Got them all torqued down to 90 with the small torque wrench and went back over it with the snap-on tech wrench. That's actually peaking at 98.5. It's a little bit off. But we do go a little bit over because we're stepping down to the 3/8 drive. But we're all good to go here, guys. Head's torqued back on, OEM head gasket. We're gonna go ahead and put the intake manifold back on now. Start putting this intake manifold put back on. And as you guys can see, I put a stud kit in this thing, stainless stud kit, intake and exhaust. And boy, let me tell you guys what a relief this is. Let me find my other bolts. So back when, I'm gonna age myself a little bit. Back when I was building Hondas, you know, back in my day.
Blue, you sure you're okay with this?
Tansy.
Let's get it on!
The cool thing was to remove all the factory Honda studs and replace them with stainless steel Allen-headed bolts. They looked really cool. We actually kind of started the trend of the fender washers with these too. Way back in the day, I was getting these fender washers at a local hardware place, and we were making our own kits and changing out all the fasteners. But what I can tell you is, I just put this intake manifold on in about 2 minutes, when it normally takes me about 30 minutes with those stupid Allen-headed stainless steel bolts. I actually think I threw them all away. Brent and the boys will be happy that I did that, because my car is always such a pain in the butt to work on because it didn't have studs. So you just pull the nuts and slip everything right off. So now it's back to studs. It'll make it easier. And they didn't make these stud kits back in the day that looked kind of cool. So we were doing whatever we could back then to try to spiff up our engine bays and make them look nice. And you know, oh, here's one. So this is what I used to run. Stainless steel Allen head bolts. And some of you guys are my fans that watch the channel. I built cars for you back in the day. These things are probably still in your old motors. I would buy hundreds and hundreds and boxes of these things, and every chance I would get to replace them, I would. But I'll tell you what, when you're working on it, it makes it so much easier just to have a stainless stud kit. They make them in titanium. They make all kinds of them, but this one was cheap, and stainless. Stainless going into aluminum is not good, so don't ever remove stainless hardware when the head is hot, or they will strip for sure. But yeah, guys, we're rolling now. Got the intake manifold back on. Exhaust is about to go back on. I'm going to drop the cams back in, and this thing will be ready to drop out the transmission. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. I've got most of the motor put back together. Timing's set. Everything's good to go. I'm going to hold off on putting the turbo back on until I pull the trans tomorrow. I went ahead and picked up some cheap oil, some Rotella 1540. I'm going to flush that through the motor, fire it up, let it run for 2 or 3 minutes, shut it off, and then drain it all out. I've got a filter on there now. I'm going to take that off, put a new filter on, and then do a complete oil change with some VR1 after I flush that out. And we should be good to go after tomorrow, boys. Old Chabelas will be back together, back the way she was. Got to get back to Colorado, get her back on the dyno and turn it down, retune it basically, and get it back to where it was. We're going to stop probably 700-ish horsepower. Again, I don't want those rods to go bye-bye, so she should be good to go for the event. If I have time, there's a couple more things I'm going to do to the suspension, but not sure if I'm going to have time.
That, maybe Bed Bath & Beyond, I don't know. I don't know if we'll have enough time.
Either way, I'm still going to go. We're going to be able to race, have a good time, hang out with the boys. And also, we will have a small merch booth out there at the event, you know, time permitting. If you guys want to support, come on down to the race. It's in Kearney, Nebraska on the 7th. Come pick up a t-shirt, a hat, an air freshener, a sticker. Anything will help, guys. So I will have a little booth out there. Help me rebuild some of the stuff that I lost out of 6.0 now. Have my new truck out there as well, and Chabelas on the trailer, and have a little merch with me. So come on out, say hi, and pick yourself up a t-shirt or something. All right, well, this is the next day. We're back out in the shop and starting to get the transmission dropped out. Went ahead and disconnected the drive shaft. Got the transfer case out, and no issues, guys. Everything looks good in the transmission so far. Transfer case looks great. No chipping on the teeth, no rounding, nothing. So everything looks good. So who says you can't go 9s on a stock transfer case? I actually think Shane went 8s on stock stuff. So we're shooting for low 9s. God, I love having a lift, boys. Transmission's out. Made pretty quick work of it. About 20 minutes to get my transmission out by myself. I'm going to inspect the clutch while I'm in here. This is a Clutch Masters twin disc, but it is very, very, very old. Like over 20 years old. It's actually not even a Clutch Masters. It's sort of a Clutch Masters. It's a Quartermaster. And they made Clutch Masters use their stuff or what have you. I don't know how it all worked out, but it's still holding strong. So, and I can still get discs and stuff from Quartermaster. But I do have a Clutch Masters flywheel over there on the bench. I might be swapping that out eventually. But all right, guys, we got it apart. Everything inside looks perfect. No issues. No metal shavings on the magnet. A few little flakes here and there, but nothing that's not to be expected. I did notice that I did not stake this nut down and that I should do so. Those have had a tendency of coming loose before, so I'm going to go ahead and stake that down once I get it back together. And I'm going to go ahead and lift the gear sets out of here. I got to pull the reverse gear off, or the reverse gear out, shift forks and everything. All going to lift out. Speed Factory stuff looks great. This is an all-wheel drive transmission with the Speed Factory front-wheel drive to all-wheel drive conversion. And this is a Liberty gear set out of a road race car. So the gears were awfully short for what I'm using the car for. So we went ahead and contacted our boy Brian Spiker over at GearX Translabs, and he hooked us up with the 4.0 final drive. And now we're going with the GearX LSD. We're going to attach that to the GearX 4.0 final drive and get everything dropped back in. This should be a pretty simple, straightforward deal, and then I should be able to get the transmission back. All right, well, I didn't film much of that. I did get the transmission put back together and back in the car. It's kind of boring just watching me do all that. I am, however, now putting this Rotella T4 in here, and then we're going to use this oil because it was on sale. It was 20 bucks for 5 quarts. So we're going to dump this in here. We're going to fire the car up here in a few, let it cycle all the assembly lube out and whatever else was left in there, you know, assembly lube, fingerprints, etc. You know what I mean? So then we're going to drain it out. We'll go back to our Valvoline VR1 2050 with an OEM filter. I'm a big proponent of Honda oil filters, boys. Some guys don't like them. I normally see 5 to 10 PSI higher oil pressure with the OEM filter. I did put a K&N on it right now to flush all the crap out so I can throw it away, but I'm a big OEM guy. And normally, on our old race car, I used Honda oil. I put trans fluid back in this, and I used the OEM Honda stuff. So I'm a big proponent of the Honda lubricants. But VR1's good because I can get that at O'Reilly's. So anywhere I'm racing in the country, and I need to do an oil change or something happens, I can always get VR1 at O'Reilly's. So they stock it. They stock it in gallons and quarts, so that's awesome. So we're gonna let this drip into here for a little bit, and we're just almost ready to fire this thing up. Back out in the shop today. Finished everything up last night. I did find an ARP head stud washer sitting on the floor. Where it came from, I have no idea. I do have spares. I got my spares out. I counted them. There was enough there. So I went ahead and pulled the cams back out and checked all the washers. They were all there. So retorqued the head back down. And in doing so, I was resetting the timing, and I went to go tighten up my timing tensioner bolt, which is that bolt right there. And it just spins. So timing tensioner bolt is now stripped. Not quite sure what we're gonna do about that. I may have to pull the motor out, guys, in order to get a time cert in that thing. You know, if it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have no luck. I also, it's kind of a good thing this happened though. Let me get this on here. I was spinning my damper around when I was finding top dead center. And, is it right? Yeah, right there. I found a crack in my dampener. It's pretty significant. It goes back behind there. So I definitely do not want to run this anymore. It's probably way out of balance. I'll send this into ATI and have it gone through and fixed, but I do not want to risk it. I do have a spare, so I'm going to put my spare on, but I think that's from when the water pump pulley came out and it dinked up my ATI. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out, get my puller out, pull that out, pull off the timing cover, take a look at that timing bolt. Hopefully the bolt was just a little short or something and I can go in a little further, but I can't make this stuff up, guys. We're really, really pressed for time at this point. It is now Sunday. I have the holiday on Monday, Tuesday, and I gotta leave on Wednesday for Nebraska, or for Colorado. So I can get my car on the dyno Thursday, and we can leave Friday for Nebraska. So gonna be pushing it close as usual, guys, but it's kind of what we do. I tried to get this all done way ahead of time, and one problem after another. So we're gonna tackle that now. Keep on moving forward, boys. All right, guys, we dodged another bullet on this one. So what I did is I went ahead and took the tensioner out. Sorry, I keep dropping my phone. And went ahead and ran a longer super duper. And that one right there does the job perfectly. It gets us about 8 or 10 threads further into the hole. And that timing tensioner hole is pretty deep. I measured it. So we're gonna go ahead and stick this bolt in there. And we're gonna crank this thing over. Go ahead and we already ran it, got a little oil pressure. So Sherry's gonna start it, keep it running. Go ahead, babe. Give it some throttle. It's going to stall. There's no water in it, so it's not seeing coolant temp. And Jamie's going to have to go through and retune. Guys, transmission sounds great. I'm going to go ahead and get some water in this thing, and we're going to flush this oil out of here after I'm going to let the fan cycle once or twice. Once I get water in it, I'll keep it running manually. But Chabela is back together finally after all the back and forth with this car. And what?
While you're questioning where that washer went.
Yeah, that sucks. Got water in it, she's running, and we're ready. This is, definitely needed this today, guys, after everything I've been through with this car. She's not leaking, she's holding water, got good oil pressure. Like I said, I'm gonna let it run for a few minutes. Go ahead and let the fan cycle. Make sure I've got the fan hooked up the right way, because I can swap polarities either way. And but we're looking at 88 pounds of oil pressure at idle, 47 pounds of fuel pressure, and it looks like the coolant temperature is starting to come up at 167 or 187, 188. So fans should come on here shortly, and we should be good to go, boys. Guys, so believe it or not, that's gonna wrap it up, man. Chabela's done, the motor's back together. I really needed that. I really needed a win today, and I got it. So it is Sunday, tomorrow's a holiday, and then we've got Tuesday and Wednesday to just button up a few last minute little things, nothing big. I'm gonna work on the rear suspension on getting it stiffer, because she squats a bit, boys, when I launch. So I'm gonna put a ton of preload in the springs and not change the ride height, or maybe bring the ride height down even lower if I can get enough preload in it to where it won't hit the tires. And yeah, guys, she's ready for PFI Speedfest 2. Like I said, if you guys are coming out, come on by the booth, pick yourself up a t-shirt, and as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.